AWS Labs have released a new utility which is quite handy, and that is to create tar balls or tape archives from the files in the S3 bucket without downloading them. Tar is an old Linux construct or command which stands for tape archive. What it means is that you group the file together and then call it as a tar. And mainly it is compressed with gzip format that saves the space and it is easier to manage. Now, in a given S3 bucket, you may have hundreds or thousands of files, and you want to create a one tar file, or you just want to group them together and compress them to manage them as one file. So, normally, what people do prior to this tool is to download those files, then using this Linux utility tar, they group them together into one file, compress them, and then upload it back to S3. As you can imagine, that is quite a painstaking procedure and takes a lot of time and effort. But this utility, which is on the screen and it's an open source utility by AWS Labs, this utility s3tar, it makes the tape archive or tar balls of those files in place. You don't have to download those files. I- So if you want to use it, first you need to download this whole GitHub repository, which is free. You could even download as a zip file, or you could use HTTPS or SSH to clone this repository. Once you have done it, copy it to your local system, and for installation you just need to go down a little, and so for installation all you need to do is to use make utility to create the binary file out of the above repository which you have just downloaded. So the procedure is simple. You just need to download that repository, cd to that repository's path, and then write make. When you would write make, this make would go in and read the make file out of that repository. And let me show you that make file too. So this is a make file, and then within the make file there are few contexts and recipes as how to create the binary files or executables for different operating systems from this repository. So once you run the make command, it will generate these repositories. So that's all there is to it for the installation. Now let me show you one more thing here. This is the description of this tool, and normally to summarize what is written here is what I already described. It creates a tarball of existing S3 files without you to download the files first. Another thing is that this tool primarily uses multi-part upload or MPU feature of S3. So in that case, what happens is that first it uploads the files in parts and then combines them. This is what S3's API does, and this tool does it for you. Now let's see a few of the examples of this utility as how exactly to use it. These are few of the flags which you can use, and you can read that as part of your documentation. But here is a simple command as how to make the tarball. The command name is s3tar. Once you run your make on that repository, it will create the binary file. You can create a symbolic link out of that binary file, call it s3tar, and also add it to your usr bin directory in Linux, and that will be in your path. Then specify your region and then CVF. And this is a very familiar tar syntax where we are compressing it with verbose, and the file, the target or the destination or resultant file will be this one. So you will be specifying your bucket name, whatever prefix or directory, in other words, you're specifying within that bucket, and the resultant file, we are just calling it as archive.tar, and this option is where your actual files are. In this bucket, we have the prefix files, so whatever will be under these files will be um, will be included into this archive.tar. And then instead of specifying it here, you could even create a manifest file, which is simply a CSV file with a bucket name, prefix, file, and the content length of your objects if you already know it. And you can even pull it easily through your CLI or Boto3 API SDK. And then you can also specify different buckets. And then once you have the CSV file, you can specify it in your s3tar command again. S3tar, your region, the destination tar file, and then the dash m and the path to your manifest file. And this manifest file can be on your local system or within the S3 bucket, a different one. So once that's done, so in this command, as you can see, we are using CVF to compress it, and now to uncompress it, we use XVF. So similar tar format for the XVF, and we are giving it our target tar file and the destination we want where we want to uncompress it with the dash C option. In this example, until now we have been compressing and uncompressing multiple files. You can do the same operation on a single file. All you need to do is to specify your bucket and your file. If you want to list the files in the tar, simply use dash df option with this s3tar command. So seems very handy. You can even make it part of your shell script to do bulk archiving. This tool is quite new, so there are few limitations there which you need to be aware of, and I'll show you on the screen. So first thing is that it should be the cumulative tar size should be over 5 MB, and you cannot have the final file size more than 5 terabytes. Still quite good, but just something to be aware of. And then there is another thing which you need to be aware of is pricing, because these S3 APIs are not free. There's a cost associated with it. So they have put down some of the formulas and use cases here. So whatever your use case is, please make sure that you're aware of the price. So that's about it. And as it's an open source project, if you find any bug or if you have any suggestions or feedback, feel free to go to this GitHub repository and make your contribution. And I will be putting the link to this GitHub repo in the description section of this video. I hope you liked it. If you have any questions or feedback, please put them in the comments. Thank you.